Friends, this question from Quiz2 Jan 2026 question paper. So in the question they given a control flow graph diagram and there are three variables x, y and z. Question is how many test requirements they are asking to find the test requirements T are there to satisfy all depth coverage for the variable x. So friends, in this they are asking to find the all depth coverage for the variable x only. Here there are three variables but they are asking for only x. All depth coverage EDC. So all depths means depths means definitions. All depths means definitions of the variable x. So from this control flow graph, first you have to identify the definition of the variable x. So where the variable x is defined is where the definition of the x is defined. X is defined at node 1, right? That is x equals to a at node 1. And x is defined at node C, that is node 4. Sorry, the x is defined at node 4, that is x equals to C. So these are the definitions of the x. And what are the uses of x? Where the x is used. So generally x is used in the edge 1 to 2, right? That is x 1 to 2 is an edge, that is x greater than or equal to y here. And x is defined used at edge 1 to 5. That is x less than y, that is 1 to 5. The edges, these are edges, these are nodes, above are nodes. And x is used at print x, right, at node 5. So these are the uses and these are the definitions of the variable x only, because in the question they are asking to find the variable x. What is this all depth coverage, friends? So that is all depths coverage. Friends, there is a trick for this question. It is correct. You can check with all the questions also. This means so definition of the variable x, right? That is every definition of the variable x at least one def clear path. All depth coverage, that the every definition of the x, that is the every definition, that is each definition of x, there is at least one def clear path from the definition to one def clear path. So that is every definition of x. The definition of x here, the every definition of x, there is at least means greater than or equal to one, at least one def clear path from every definition to at least one use. Every definition to at least one use. At least one use, friends, that is greater than or equal to one use. Net the one. And definition at the node 4. At least one use, friends. At least one use. There are how many uses? 3 uses, right? So these are 3 uses. 1, 2 is use, 1, 5 and 5 is also use. So that is every definition. That is definition, right? Definition 1, definition 2. And one use is 1, 2 edge. One use is 1, 5 edge. Another use is 5, right? 5 is only node. So 5, same 1, 5. So 1, 2. So path must be def clear means that from definition to use path, there is no redefinition. That is the x is defined at this node and used at this node. used at this node, particular node, and there is no redefinition in between this path. That is called the def clear path. Definitions are there, 2 definitions, right? So that is answer for this question is 2. Why? So from every definition to at least one use, right? So that is you can cover all the definitions, right? So all the definitions, because of that all defs coverage. So all defs coverage, how many definitions are there? That many paths are. So the answer for this question is there are 2 definitions only. So the x is defined at node 1 and node 4. So there are 2 paths required. So you can cover every definition, that is all the definition, that is 2 definition, 2 paths. This is the answer, friends. You check with another example. If it is okay, you can follow. How to find the number of paths? So the answer is 2, we know, but what is the path? That is the test requirement. Number of test requirements is 2, correct, because there are 2 definitions, 2 paths. Okay, what are that paths, friends? What are these 2 test requirements paths? So from node 1, so for this first x is defined at node 1, right? 1 2. So x is defined at node 1 and use at 5, right? Use at 5. So you can consider this one, or so 1 definition 1 use is covered, right? Next 1 definition 2, this use also you can, this is the use, print x is the use, x less than y is also use. So we are covering both this use or at least 1 use is okay. Next one is we want to cover this one, right? This use x greater than or equal to y, that is 1 2 and 5. This is the definition, this is the use 2 to 5 edge, and this is also use. So you can consider any one is okay. And the definition and another definition of the x is at node 4, right? This one x equal to c, that is from 4 to use, right? Definition to use, definition and use at 5. Okay, so in this we are covered this definition and this use. So this is the second path. You can consider any one of this. Okay, so this one is the first path. So all defs coverage, so all defs coverage EDC, the test requirements are 2, this is the answer, but the paths are 1 to 5, 4 comma 5. This is the answer, or we can use 1 comma 5 or 4 comma 5. All the definitions, right? All means definitions. So if there are n number of definitions, every n paths, right? So n paths. So you can remember that test requirements for the all defs coverage is number of definitions. Number of definition. If there are n definitions, the test requirements n definitions only. So in this question the n equals to 2. So consider one new definition, one use, that is one path, right? One use, that generally greater than or equal to at least one use. So one definition, one use is okay, one path. So 1 to 1 friends. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe my channel, and thank you for watching.